There comes a moment in your journey when everything that once felt scattered, uncertain, or incomplete begins to take its rightful place. A moment when you can feel something shifting, not on the outside, but within you. And that inner shift is the first undeniable sign that things are coming together, that the season of waiting is closing, and the season of receiving is opening. You may not see the full picture yet, but the arrangement is already happening. The right people, opportunities, doors, ideas, and pathways have already been touched by the unseen currents that respond to your inner state. Life has been quietly organizing itself around the assumptions you have held. Every belief you repeated, every mental picture you revisited, every feeling you nurtured within yourself has been forming the blueprint of what now begins to manifest. Things are coming together, not because you fought harder or struggled longer, but because you finally aligned. You finally allowed the version of you who already has it to breathe, to exist, to take its rightful place in your consciousness. And the moment you did, the outer world received its instructions. You must understand, nothing shows up randomly, nothing arrives out of place. The pieces you once thought were missing were never missing. They were preparing. They were developing in silence, waiting for the exact moment when your inner readiness matched their arrival. And that moment is now approaching. You are stepping into a phase where things that once felt difficult will suddenly become effortless. Roads that were blocked will open. Conversations will lead to breakthroughs. What you once prayed for will start showing up in ways that feel almost too precise to be coincidence. Because it isn't coincidence. It is the response to your inner work, your inner shift, your inner decision to live from the end instead of striving toward it. So get ready to receive. Get ready. Not by worrying about how or when, but by assuming that it is already yours. Prepare yourself like someone who knows the blessing is on the way. Prepare your mind, your emotions, your habits. Prepare the space in your life, because the arrival is guaranteed once the state has been claimed. Do not judge your life by what you see today. What you see is merely the harvest of yesterday's assumptions. Your new assumptions, your new inner alignment are already creating a new unfolding. Feel it. Accept it. Things are coming together faster than you think. Pieces you forgot about are returning. Ideas you left behind are resurfacing. People who can elevate your journey are being moved into place. Solutions you could not have imagined are forming right now. Stand in the knowing that what you have asked for, lived for, and prepared for is already finding its way to you. Your responsibility now is simple. Stay in the feeling of fulfillment. Stay in the assumption that it's done. Live as the version of you who has already received, because when you do, the outer world will have no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect that truth. Things are coming together beautifully, perfectly, powerfully. Get ready, because what you're about to receive is bigger than what you've been waiting for. Your inner assumptions are silently arranging the outer world to match them, shaping your experiences in ways you may not always recognize at first. The world you encounter is not a random sequence of events, nor is it governed solely by luck or external forces. Much of what you meet in your outer reality is the reflection of the quiet convictions you carry within. These assumptions, those deep, often unspoken beliefs about who you are, what you deserve, and what is possible for you, become the organizing blueprint for your life. When you assume something inwardly, even without speaking it aloud, you begin to live in alignment with it. Your tone changes, your expectations shift, your imagination forms different pictures, and your choices follow a new path. Without realizing it, you step into the role of the person who holds that assumption, and life responds accordingly. It is not magic or coincidence. It is the natural consequence of consciousness expressing itself through your experiences. If you assume lack, you will unconsciously notice every instance of it. You will interpret situations through the lens of not enough, and you will attract experiences that confirm that belief. It will feel as though the world is denying you, when in truth you have been denying yourself. Your assumption becomes the silent command that life must obey. But when you adopt a new inner assumption, one rooted in abundance, worthiness, or possibility, you begin to open doors that once seemed closed. Even before anything external changes, there is a shift in how you walk, how you see yourself, and how you engage with your environment. You begin to act like someone who knows success is natural, who expects love to find them, who trusts that opportunities are meant for them. These subtle inner movements create the conditions that allow new experiences to emerge. The outer world does not argue with your inner state, it mirrors it. Every time you persist in an assumption, not temporarily, but with steady conviction, you are giving the universe a blueprint to follow. The people you encounter, the timing of events, the way circumstances unfold, even the ideas that surface in your mind are influenced by that deep inner stance. This is why changing your outer life often begins with shifting your inner assumptions. If you wait for the world to change first, you will wait forever. But when you choose to embody the state of already having what you desire, the world rises to meet that state. Life rearranges itself around the version of you that you have chosen to embody. You cannot fake an assumption because the inner feeling always reveals the truth. But you can cultivate it, you can internalize it, you can persist in it until it becomes natural. And once it feels natural within you, the outside must reflect it. Everything begins inwardly. Every breakthrough starts with a shift in consciousness, and every desire becomes inevitable the moment you assume it is already yours. The moment you stabilize your inner knowing, the pieces begin to move in your favor, not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you stop pushing against your own desire. When your inner knowing becomes steady, unwavering, and clear, you step into a new vibration of certainty. You no longer oscillate between hope and doubt, between belief and fear. Instead, you settle into a quiet confidence that what you desire is already yours in consciousness and therefore must take shape in your reality. This stabilized inner knowing is not loud or dramatic. It is not forced, nor is it dependent on physical evidence. It is a calm recognition, a state where you don't need to convince yourself anymore. You simply know. And that knowing becomes a powerful signal that reshapes the world around you. When your inner state becomes firm, your thoughts stop scattering, your imagination stops flipping between best case and worst case scenarios. Your emotional reactions soften, your decisions become aligned with the version of yourself who already has what you desire. Without even trying, you begin to embody the identity of someone who's secure in their outcome. You walk differently, speak differently, think differently, and these small internal shifts create ripples that influence how life unfolds. The reason things start to move in your favor when your inner knowing stabilizes is simple. Your consciousness becomes coherent. Before this point, your desire may have been split. Part of you believed, part of you doubted, part of you accepted the possibility, part of you feared disappointment. That inner division creates mixed signals, and life responds to those mixed signals accordingly. But when you unify your belief, when you align your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions into one clear direction, you create momentum. You tap into the creative power of a mind that is no longer fighting itself. This unity of consciousness is what allows circumstances to shift more quickly and more smoothly. Opportunities begin to appear not because they were missing before, but because you are now tuned to notice them. People who can support your progress show up because your energy invites them. Ideas come to you with clarity because your mind is no longer cluttered with doubt. Even delays transform into divine timing because you interpret them through a new lens, one that trusts the unfolding rather than questions it. This stabilized inner knowing becomes your anchor. It keeps you grounded even when your senses try to contradict you. It prevents you from being swayed by temporary appearances. You stop reacting to every fluctuation in your outer world, and instead you remain loyal to the state you have claimed within. And life must honor that state because your outer experience cannot remain unchanged when your inner conviction has shifted. The moment you stabilize your inner knowing, you step into alignment with the version of yourself who already possesses the fulfillment of your desire. And once that alignment is achieved, the world begins its rearrangement. People, events, timing, solutions, and breakthroughs all start moving toward you. Not by chance, but by inevitability. Your inner knowing is the foundation. Once it becomes steady, everything built upon it must reflect that certainty. This is why, when you finally settle into the truth of your desire without wavering, the pieces of your life begin aligning in a way that you can feel, see, and soon experience fully. What seems delayed is simply aligning in perfect order behind the scenes, working itself out with a precision that you may not recognize until the moment of fulfillment arrives. We are often conditioned to believe that waiting signifies lack, that silence means nothing is happening, or that delay is a sign of denial. But in reality, every desire has its own unfolding, and what you call a delay is often the very process that ensures everything arrives at the right time, in the right way, and in the right form. The universe is not withholding anything from you. Life is not ignoring your intention. Rather, the circumstances, people, ideas, and events needed to fulfill your desire are being prepared and positioned. This preparation can take time, not because the manifestation is difficult, but because alignment is essential. Alignment is the invisible work that ensures you receive not just what you ask for, but what will truly support your growth, your evolution, and your long-term joy. When something seems delayed, it is easy to fall into frustration or doubt. You may question your assumptions, your beliefs, or even your worthiness. But this is the exact moment when trust is most important. The unseen realm operates on order, not chaos. Everything that shows up in your life has a sequence, a path, and a timing that is designed to create the best possible outcome. You may not see the full picture yet, but the picture is being assembled piece by piece. Imagine a masterpiece painting being created behind a curtain. From your viewpoint, nothing seems to be happening. It looks like stillness. But behind the curtain, every stroke is being applied with intention. Every color is being chosen with care. The outcome is being sculpted with precision. When the curtain is finally lifted, you realize that what felt like inactivity was actually intricate preparation. The same applies to your life. When your desire feels delayed, remember that movement is happening in the unseen. Your state of consciousness is being matched with external circumstances. Resources are being gathered, people are being prompted, paths are being opened, ideas are being refined, you are being shaped internally so that when the desire arrives, you can sustain it and grow with it. Sometimes what appears as a delay is actually protection. If something came too early, it might overwhelm you. If it came in the wrong form, it might distract you from your true calling. If the wrong people were attached to it, it might hinder your progress. The delay ensures that everything aligns to support your highest outcome. When you understand this, you stop fighting the timing of your life. You stop forcing outcomes. You stop doubting the process. Instead, you begin to trust the unseen orchestration that is always working on your behalf. You recognize that the delay is not a punishment, it is preparation. And when the alignment is complete, what once felt late will arrive right on time. You will look back and see how every pause had purpose, how every moment of waiting was shaping you, and how the perfect order of events brought everything together in a way more beautiful than you could have imagined. Nothing is wasted, nothing is random. What seems delayed is simply being aligned quietly, perfectly, and inevitably behind the scenes. Your preparation is a signal to the universe that you are ready to receive. It is not merely about the actions you take, but the state of consciousness you embody while taking them. Preparation is a powerful declaration that you believe your desire is on its way. When you prepare, you are acting from the end, behaving as though the fulfillment is already part of your reality. This shift in behavior, mindset, and energy becomes a magnetic force that draws your desire closer. Preparation is not driven by fear or desperation. It is driven by certainty. When you prepare for something, you demonstrate that you expect its arrival. Think of how someone cleans their home when they know an honored guest is coming. They don't question whether the guest will show up. They prepare because they know. This certainty is what sends a clear signal to the universe. I am aligned with what I seek. I have made space for it. I'm ready. The universe responds not to your wishes, but to your state. Wishing is passive. Preparation is active. Wishing says, I hope this happens someday. Preparation says, it's happening and I'm making room for it now. This difference in inner position is profound. It moves you from longing to receiving, from hoping to knowing, from waiting to welcoming. When you prepare inwardly, you reorganize your assumptions. You begin to see yourself as the person who already has the blessing. You imagine differently. You think differently. You make decisions from the perspective of someone who has already stepped into the new reality. This inner preparation is the most important part because the outer world must follow the blueprint of your inner world. Once your identity shifts inwardly, your circumstances cannot remain the same. But preparation also shows up outwardly. If you are preparing for financial increase, for example, you might start learning how to manage larger sums of money or clearing out old patterns of spending. If you are preparing for love, you may begin healing emotional wounds, creating space in your life, or treating yourself with the respect you expect from a partner. If you are preparing for a new opportunity, you might update your skills, organize your environment, or align your time with your emerging vision. These outward steps are not what manifest the desire. They are reflections of an inner assumption that the desire is already yours. They reinforce your belief, deepen your alignment, and accelerate the manifestation. Preparation removes doubt. It dissolves hesitation. It solidifies your expectation. When you prepare, you claim the blessing before it arrives. You walk into the state of fulfillment. You embody readiness. The universe reads this readiness as a clear, unmistakable signal. It sees that you are no longer questioning, no longer wavering, no longer hoping from a distance. You are welcoming, you are receiving, you are aligned. And when you reach that level of inner preparation, the outer world must respond. Doors open, paths clear, opportunities appear, people show up. What you once thought was far away begins to move toward you with surprising speed and precision. Your preparation is the bridge between desire and manifestation. It is your affirmation that the blessing is already yours. The moment you prepare, the universe says they are ready. And once readiness is achieved, receiving becomes inevitable. The unseen realm responds to your conviction, not your circumstances. Life does not move according to what you see with your physical eyes, but according to what you accept as true within yourself. This is why two people in the same situation can have entirely different outcomes. Because the invisible world is influenced not by appearances, but by belief. Circumstances are temporary, shifting, and often misleading. Conviction, however, is the deeper current that shapes the direction of your life. When you hold a strong inner conviction, you tap into a creative force that is far greater than the conditions surrounding you. Even if everything in your environment seems to contradict your desire, your conviction has the power to override those appearances. The unseen realm responds to the inner reality you choose to occupy. It hears the tone of your belief, the steadiness of your assumption, the consistency of your emotional state, and it mirrors that back to you. This is why it's possible to be surrounded by lack and still manifest abundance, or to face obstacles and still experience breakthroughs. It is not the circumstance that determines your outcome. It is the conviction you carry despite the circumstance. Your conviction is the seed, and the unseen realm is the soil. Your outer world is simply the harvest. If the seed is weak, confused, or inconsistent, the harvest will reflect that. But when the seed is firm, when the conviction is strong, the harvest becomes inevitable. Conviction is not loud. It does not come from forcing yourself to think positive thoughts or repeating words you don't truly feel. True conviction is a deep inner knowing, a calm assurance, a settled belief that transcends what you see. It is the inner stance that says, even if nothing around me suggests it, I know what is mine. This knowing becomes the dominant vibration of your consciousness, and the unseen realm always responds to dominance, not noise. Circumstances can be deceiving. They are merely reflections of past thoughts, past beliefs, past assumptions. They are old echoes. When you understand this, you stop letting them dictate your future. You realize that by changing your conviction, you change the very blueprint that creates your outer world. The unseen realm does not wait for conditions to improve before it begins its work. It responds the moment you shift internally, the moment you choose a new belief, the moment you step into the state of having instead of wanting. This is why you must never allow temporary appearances to shake your inner knowing. Conviction must remain steady even when your senses bring conflicting reports. The unseen realm requires faithfulness to the inner image, not loyalty to the outer situation. When you remain unmoved within, the outer must eventually move to match you. As you strengthen your conviction, you become the cause rather than the effect. You stop reacting to life and begin directing it. The unseen realm bends to the power of your belief. It arranges, orchestrates, aligns, and delivers according to your dominant assumption. Circumstances may resist at first, but they cannot overpower conviction. Your inner state always wins. Your life will not reflect what you hoped for, wished for, or waited for. It will reflect what you believed with conviction. The unseen realm is responding even now. Hold the state, hold the vision, hold the knowing, and watch as the outer world reshapes itself around the truth you carry within. When you live from the end, everything needed for its fulfillment finds its way to you because you have occupied the state of the desired outcome before it becomes visible. Living from the end is not pretending, forcing, or wishing. It is assuming the reality of your desire so fully that your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors naturally align with it. When you do this, you create a powerful internal atmosphere that draws the circumstances, people, and opportunities required to manifest that outcome. To live from the end means to internally inhabit the version of yourself who already has what you want. You think from that identity, feel from that identity, and see the world through the lens of someone who has already arrived. This internal shift is what sets the entire process of manifestation in motion. You no longer chase outcomes. You become the person for whom those outcomes are normal. And when you become that person, life responds accordingly. This is why things begin to flow more easily when you live from the end. Resistance dissolves because you are no longer reaching, longing, or questioning. You have stepped out of the energy of wanting and into the energy of having. And having is the state that the universe reflects. The outer world must imitate the inner. So when you dwell in the feeling of fulfillment, the world begins reshaping itself to mirror your inner world. Living from the end also sharpens your intuition. You start sensing which actions to take and which ones to ignore. You recognize the right opportunities because they feel familiar. They match the state you are already living in. People who can help you appear naturally, not by accident, but by alignment. Ideas emerge at the right moment because your mind is attuned to the frequency of your desired outcome. Even delays take on new meaning because you see them as part of a larger, perfectly timed unfolding. When you live from the end, you stop wasting energy trying to control every detail. You trust that what is needed will come to you because you are anchored in the state where it already exists. This is not passive resignation, it is powerful surrender. An inner stance that says, it's already done. From this place of completion, you move with confidence instead of desperation, clarity instead of confusion, and ease instead of effort. The world around you begins to respond to this internal certainty. The right conversations happen. Unexpected connections form. Hidden pathways reveal themselves. What once seemed impossible becomes effortless because you have aligned with the version of yourself who naturally experiences that outcome. You become a magnet for everything connected to the fulfillment of your desire. Living from the end also frees you from the emotional turbulence of waiting. You no longer look for signs or wonder when it will happen. Instead, you embody the emotional tone of the wish fulfilled now. And because your emotions are the most powerful creative force, the outer world has no choice but to reorganize itself to match them. Everything needed, every opportunity, meeting, insight, and shift finds you because your inner world has already accepted the fulfillment. You are not attracting randomly. You are aligning intentionally. You are not hoping for a future moment. You are living the reality of it now. Everything in your life is moving toward the fulfillment of what you have claimed within. The assumptions you hold, the inner knowing you stabilize, the preparation you make, the conviction you carry, and the decision to live from the end, all of it is shaping the reality that is now unfolding for you. Nothing is out of place. Nothing is working against you. Every moment, every shift, every delay, and every breakthrough is part of a divine orchestration that is aligning you with what is already yours in consciousness. Your only task now is to remain faithful to the inner truth you have accepted. Do not let appearances shake you. Do not let temporary circumstances distract you. Stand firm in the state of fulfillment and trust the unseen work that is happening on your behalf. The pieces are moving, the path is opening, the blessing is on its way, not someday, but now, because you have already received it within. Everything is coming together. Stay ready, stay aligned, stay in the knowing that what you desire is inevitable. Thank you for listening, and thank you for allowing this message to be a part of your journey.